Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the City Club of Eugene's July 10th, 2026 program, Minor League Sports in the Community. My name is Alyssa Gilbert, President of the City Club of Eugene, and it's my honor to welcome you to another of the many forums we've held since 1990 in the name of our mission to build community vision through open inquiry. City Club creates access to our local leaders and provides a platform for Eugene area community members to be heard. In light of the division we're experiencing in the world, I believe it's important now more than ever for us to gather as a community with curious minds and mutual respect. This space to listen, ask, learn, and gather is what City Club aims to provide to our community each week. Anyone who attends a City Club forum has equal access to asking questions in our space. We'd love for you to browse our past programs at cityclubofeugene.org or our YouTube or Facebook. Please consider becoming a member if you'd like to support our rigorous volunteer work as Oregon's only city club that provides weekly forums. Now I'd like to thank our sponsors. The University of Oregon has helped Oregonians question critically, think logically, reason effectively, communicate clearly, act creatively, and live ethically since 1876. Get more information at uoregon.edu. Lane Community College transforms lives through learning. LCC provides comprehensive, accessible, high-quality educational opportunities that promote student success. For more information, visit lanecc.edu. Thank you to Lane County for their generous support and to our web host, 9 Planets, whose website support is critical to our functioning, making it easy to sign up as a member or learn more about us. Quick reminder to everyone here in person to silence all cell phones. And with that, I will introduce the coordinator of today's program and City Club of Eugene past president, Andrew Kalick.
By show of hands of folks in the room, how many folks have tuned into a World Cup match this summer? That's good. So for those on the radio, everybody, right? Everybody's tuned in for a little World Cup. It's a fever spreading across the country, which is great. But today we get to continue our sort of summer of soccer and of the national pastime, of course, of baseball, by welcoming two representatives of local sporting organizations that are either actively in place, that's the case of the Drifters, or coming soon to a civic park near you. That's the Sporting Cascades. For those of you who don't know, the Springfield Drifters Baseball Club has graced Hamlin Stadium since 2022, and the Sporting Cascades Football Club, and as we've learned, football, that's soccer for most of the world. So that's what we're talking about here. They'll begin their inaugural season next spring at Civic Park in Eugene. So I'm happy to introduce Knight Jarecki, who's the Director of Communications for the Springfield Drifters. He joined the Drifters as an intern in 2022, just ahead of the team's inaugural season, and he has climbed the ladder since, becoming the voice of the Drifters, shaping the club's broadcast and leading its media efforts. So he has a voice for radio, which you're going to love, I promise. And then Sporting Cascades FC President Dave Gallus is with us here today. He was also the founder and managing director of Lane United FC. That's Eugene's former USL League Two team, and Dave will explain what that means, as well as the W League Soccer Club. Dave is one of the lucky folks who's lived within walking distance of Civic Park since the year 2000 and is focused on reimagining the magic of South Eugene game days with the beautiful game of soccer. So please join me in welcoming our panelists.
Thank you, Andrew. As you said, my name is Knight Jarecki. I am the Director of Communications for the Springfield Drifters. As you mentioned, I started as an intern back in 2022 ahead of the team's first season. And, they kept on hiring me back each summer to do the broadcasting and then had the opportunity to join the front office full-time starting in September. So it's been an awesome experience being with the club from year one all the way up until now. But I just kind of want to give you guys a little bit of a rundown about the Springfield Drifters. The Drifters were founded in 2022 by a couple of local businessmen, Ike Olson of Olson Industrial Electric and Kelly Richardson of Richardson Sports. Both owners who own businesses here in the Eugene-Springfield area. Both of their businesses are in Springfield. And during that 2021 year, coming out of COVID, they both saw a need for a community turf field in this area. There was no public baseball field. There was a turf facility in this area, and as you guys know, in Oregon, it rains a bit here. And so in the early spring, a lot of high school games kind of got canceled. And so at the time, PK Park was the only public turf baseball field, and so they saw a need of putting a turf field in this community. They got a hold of a guy named Dan Siegel, who was the CEO of the Corvallis Knights in the West Coast League, which is the league that we play in right now. And they talked to them about the idea of bringing a WCL team to this area. To do that, you kind of need some business partners. And one of the first guys they called was a guy named Joe Womack, who is the president of Bushnell University. Bushnell, right around COVID, they saw their attendance numbers drop a little bit, and they were looking for a way to bring students to Bushnell University, and one of the ways to do that was creating a baseball program. Joe, he was a big baseball guy, actually played baseball at TCU, and he really wanted to create a baseball team at Bushnell University. And so him and Ike Olson, Kelly Richardson at the time, decided to kind of go in and try to bring a multi-use turf baseball facility to this area. To do that, though, they needed some space, and Ike, through a relationship that he had with Springfield Public School District, putting a turf field at Maple Elementary School back in, I believe, 2017 or 2018, they came together and they decided to build the facility at Hamlin Middle School, which we have Hamlin Sports Complex to this day, which is pretty unique to have a private business group, a private Christian university, and a public school district all work together to do something for the betterment of the community. For the Drifters, though, there was a significant investment on our part. The whole project took about $5 million. It was about $1 million from Bushnell University, $1 million from the Springfield Public School District, and then $3 million from our private business owners. A lot of gracious donors, supporters have put in a lot of money towards this project, and it's been awesome to see the facility go to use. Not even just like with the Drifters in our seasons that we have during the summer, but also high school baseball season. Springfield High School utilizes the facility. There's Legion baseball tournaments that happen throughout. I was at the field yesterday, and there were some club baseball tournaments happening. So it's awesome to see the community be able to utilize that facility year-round. The Drifters overall, our mission is to create opportunities for youth in this community to experience the sport of baseball, and also to get to share the sport of baseball in this area and make it affordable for everybody. One of the ways that we do that, though, is through our Drifters Helping Kids program. For most Drifters games throughout the year, kids 12 and under get in for free. We also work in with the Hope Project, which is a great organization here in the area, and we identify students in need in the Eugene-Springfield area. If the school districts identify a student in need, we'll give them free admission to Drifters games and also provide them a free voucher for a free hot dog and a free soda. We just want to make sure that kids are getting fed in this community and have a space to go where they're not necessarily on the street, but can go and enjoy a baseball game. And we just want to create an accessible way to do that. Our tickets are not very expensive. Our cheapest tickets are $9. And we just want to create opportunities for people to be able to experience baseball in this area. Another thing that we're doing this year, Ike and Kelly, they're pretty ambitious people, and they want to invest more in this community. And one of the ways they did that is they bought the old Willamette Lane Memorial Building in downtown Springfield. It's at the corner of 8th and A Street, and it's currently under construction right now. We're hoping to finish construction next month, and we're turning that facility into a youth baseball academy. And so if anybody has been in that building before, on the second floor of that building, which is nearly, I think, just a little under 20,000 square feet, but the second floor is an old basketball gym. We're turning that basketball gym into an indoor hitting facility. Downstairs, we're putting a weight room down there, and our goal is to have, I believe, 12 to 15 youth baseball teams being able to utilize that facility year-round, plus also bring in tournaments to this area. So right now, like a lot of youth programs, they're having to go down to Medford, they're having to go up to Portland to play tournaments, and we're hoping to utilize our facility at Hamlin Sports Complex to boost tourism in this area and bring some of those local tournaments here. So we're really excited about the academy. Another thing is that our owners are really committed to Springfield and this area. Springfield oftentimes gets looked down upon compared to Eugene, and we are Springfield's team. And honestly, our demographics show it. 55% of our fans are actually from Springfield. There's a sense of pride in the Springfield community having a baseball team there. That's not to say that we don't love people from Eugene coming to our games as well. We certainly do. But there is a sense of pride, and you're starting to see it. We have Springfield Night, and people are buying in the community of Springfield. And so it's been cool to see the growth from year one. We've grown our attendance each year. We were up 55% from last season to this season so far, and we look forward to the future. So thank you, guys.
Hello, everyone. My name's Dave Gallus, co-founder, president, Sporting Cascades FC. I think the last time I was at or spoke at a City Club meeting was 2013 when we were getting Lane United going, and I was involved in the Eugene Civic Alliance project trying to save Civic Stadium. Before I launch into that whole story, I do want to thank Knight for what he was talking about and really underlining how important facilities are to this whole endeavor, regardless of what sport. Facilities is where things start and end. And similarly, we have an owner in Bill Cornog who is putting a lot of money into this project. He's vowed to never take a dollar out of it. He's only putting money into it. He's also doing the Treetops project, the old Chancellor's House at the U of O, putting a lot of money into that and really investing in the community. Getting back to sports, facilities really is everything, and that's how this whole thing started. When Civic was in the crosshairs of Fred Meyer, I started asking around and how I might be able to help, save that stadium. And the original Friends of Civic Stadium guys said, well, if we had a team, we could definitely save it. And so I went to my brother, who was in soccer his whole professional life, and said, how hard is it to start a team? He said, we can start a team. Let's do it. So it really was born out of community interest in saving an old structure, saving a place that I had been to watch baseball games, and seeing the community unite on warm summer evenings and not wanting to see that go away, combined with literally going to a couple sponsors and asking, could we get some jerseys so we could have a friendly match against the Portland U23s, the Timbers U23s. And then we went down to a pub and started passing the hat and just sort of spreading the word and this is what we want to do. And people threw $40 a pop in the hat, and it sort of took off from there. So fast forward to now, it's a completely different endeavor, and I would like to say that I'm at the wrong forum because we like to underline we're not minor league sports, but in a lot of ways we are, for all the reasons that minor league sports are so important to communities. We are going to be playing in the USL League One, which is a nationwide league of 20 some odd teams. Above it is the USL Championship, and in a couple years above that will be USL Premier. And within those three tiers will be promotion and relegation, as I'm sure many of you have seen on Ted Lasso, Welcome to Wrexham. So basically the way soccer operates in the rest of the world. So if we do well on the field, we will be moving up to the championship and playing in larger markets. And the teams in the championship that aren't doing as well will be moving down and coming to the smaller markets. So it's very much a meritocracy in the way I think a lot of people like to believe the U.S. operates, but instead we have these cartels like the NFL and the NBA who lock people out, lock communities out, and then hold communities hostages for better facilities. So I'm excited. It's not cheap. It's going to cost a lot of money, but it's a great asset for the community. That being said, our owner, Bill Cornog, has also reiterated how much support we need from the entire community. He was here this last week, and we had a lot of meetings with both chambers of commerce in Eugene, Springfield, with the mayor of Eugene, and then a whole bunch of big presidents of companies, et cetera. And so we need the fans, we need the companies, we need the politicians, we need everyone to support this. Just as a sort of, I think the best way I can indicate the change of scope of what we're doing from Lane United, which is an amateur summer league, we had an operating budget of about $160,000 for that team. And now with a nationwide league, where we play 20-odd home games, and we have a staff, including players, because unlike minor league baseball, et cetera, where the players get shipped in by the major league teams, we have to pay all our players, our coaches, et cetera. So we'll have a payroll of about 50 employees total, and these are 50 new jobs in this community. Year-round, our season runs March through October, hopefully into November for with playoffs. And so our budget's going to be close to $5.5 million. So it's a big lift, but we know we have a world-class facility at Civic, and we hope to expand on that, improve on it, make it slightly better here and there. And then, like Knight said, we want to be approachable for the whole community. So we're keeping our lowest price tickets at the $12 mark, just like we had at the Lane United level. Then again, we also know that with the University of Oregon and all its facilities and its game day experiences, we want to be able to offer a higher tier, a higher level experience. So our ticket prices are going to go from, like I said, $12 all the way up to over $100 with hospitality, et cetera. So I hope you have a lot of questions for me tonight. I could go on and on about all these things, but I'd prefer to answer your questions. So thanks.
Before we begin our Q&A, a special thank you to our award-winning public radio station KLCC for airing City Club programs on Mondays at 7 p.m. In the metro area of Lane County, they broadcast on 89.7 FM and in Florence on 88.1 FM. For those listening at home or in transit right now, your household is one of several thousand tuning into City Club on KLCC. We're grateful and honored to have you. You can also find all recent City Club programs archived at klcc.org, as well as our YouTube channel and the City Club of Eugene podcast. Feel free to line up at the microphone, and we'll have just a short break before Q&A.
Welcome back to the City Club of Eugene's Forum on Local Sports in our community with the Springfield Drifters and Sporting Cascades FC. This is our question and answer period with our panel. Doug, you have the first.
How about now?
Great.
Okay. I'm Doug Bovee. I'm a City Club member for many years, and thank you for being here. So I'm also a resident of Springfield, and I drive by the stadium frequently, so I see the sign, hot dogs, what is the phrase? Hot dogs, home runs, and
Family fun.
family fun. Yeah.
It was a little loud.
Right. Anyway, I see on your schedule there's an all-star game coming up on Wednesday. Is that right?
It's coming up next Wednesday. That's actually going to be in Victoria, British Columbia. So the West Coast League, which is something that I didn't necessarily talk about a ton, is 16 teams in Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, and Alberta. The All-Star game moves quite frequently. Last year is in Bellingham, Washington, and this year is in Victoria, British Columbia. Our long-term goal with our facility is to hopefully host one day. And again, that would bring, local tourism to this area. But yeah, so that's going to be coming up next Wednesday in Victoria.
I'm glad I asked because I saw it as a home game. I'm not mistaken, because it's dark blue in the schedule.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Next question. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Janet Brower, and I'm a longtime resident. In fact, I went to Springfield High School, so I remember the old Hamlin. And I was wondering if you could spend some time describing the facility there, what's available, and what kind of scheduling you have for that facility. And also, if you might be able to address, we have a Bethel-Danebo area where they're thinking about putting in more some baseball areas for the parks and open space in Eugene. I was wondering if you knew anything about that and when that might happen, that project that's off of Beltline and Barger.
I don't know much about that project, but I can tell you one thing, like the Drifters definitely support, building more baseball fields in this community. At the end of the day, we want to grow the sport of baseball in this area. And that's kind of why we're building the Youth Baseball Academy, because we understand there's not really an indoor hitting facility right now in this area that's accessible to the public and public teams. And so that's kind of why we're building that academy, is to hope to grow and eventually, host more tournaments. So I think if they do build that project out in Beltline, that allows us to maybe hopefully get into that facility and then bring in tournaments to this area. Because like I said, a lot of times, like the teams in this area, they're going down to Medford, they're going up to Portland, and that's a lot of travel for like the youth in this community. And if we can bring tournaments here and keep families here so that they're not traveling as much with the rising costs of living right now in the state of Oregon, to try to keep it local, I think that would be great. For us though, like at our facility right now at Hamlin Middle School, we have a stadium that has stadium seating, bench seating as well. A beautiful open concourse, beer garden area, 1,900 seats. So we just had like our July 2nd game. We had our second of 3 fireworks shows this year, and we had just a little under 1,900 fans in attendance for that. And it is a true community event, and we get local businesses that are able to come out and showcase their business. One of our employees this year, her mom has like a tie-dye business, and yesterday was our Grateful Drifters night, and so her business was able to come out and sell some tie-dye and do some tie-dye with fans that wanted the experience of tie-dyeing their own drifter shirt that was a white shirt and tie-dye. And so those are the unique experiences that we have, and it's little things, right? Like the other day, I had a friend that I met through Springfield Greeters, and she was bringing her younger brother to the game. And her young brother's 12 years old. He's a big baseball fan. And she was like, hey, he kind of is interested in broadcasting. Can I bring him to the booth and just have him sit with you while you broadcast? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So he came up to the booth while I was broadcasting, sat with me for half an inning, and then I looked at him and I was like, hey, would you like to do PA announcing for half an inning? And we allowed him to go into the PA announcer's booth and announce the names for half an inning. And the kid was just so happy, like, grinning ear to ear. And that's what we're creating. We're creating memories in this community. It's the little moments like that, and being able to utilize our facility, to give opportunities for youth that they would otherwise not necessarily have in this area unless we had a team like we do right now in Springfield. And, there's a lot of uncertainty about the Eugene Emeralds and where they're headed. And we're just happy to provide a source of baseball entertainment in the area and utilize our facility at the corner of Centennial and Pioneer Parkway in Springfield.
If I could just jump in to address the other part of your question. I think you're speaking of the Golden Gardens project. So I know a fair amount about that, but one thing I will say is when we were first starting on the Eugene Civic Alliance project, we had some consultants come in and do an assessment of facilities in our area. And even then, 10, 11 years ago, whatever it was, they deemed that our community was short by about 7 to 8 rectangular fields for what a community our size should have. And that's not even speaking to the diamond fields. So I know that the funding for that is going to come up in a parks bond, I believe, in the next couple years. So it's going to be really important to support that for all the reasons I just said. Baseball players, soccer players, lacrosse, rugby, everything. These kids don't need to be shipped all over the state just to play a game.
Thank you so much for being here. Sandra Bishop, City Club member. Football, football, football. You have great commitment to be here in the middle of a World Cup game. Thanks for people recording things. I've been told I cannot give scores or lack of scores because some people are recording it and don't want to know. It's really, really exciting that Eugene is going to have a team at the level that you're talking about. So I have a couple questions. A little bit more about the players. You said this is going to be one of 20 teams, you said, in the USL League One. So where are these players coming from? How long do they stay? Where do they go?
They'll literally be coming from all over the world. With the coaching staff, we've sat down and sort of laid out what an ideal roster looks like in terms of profile of player, how many fit that profile, and how many fit other profiles to fill out a full roster. Our owner, Bill Cornog, is also an investor in a holding group based out of Texas. It's where he lives. His wife is from Texas. And they own a professional club in France, in Mexico. They just sold their professional club in Spain, and they own an academy in Botswana. So we're tied into a global network of scouting and development now, where we're getting players who are being identified for potential in Mexico, say, an Ecuadorian player who isn't quite going to make the cut there, and then he's going to be on our radar. So it's going to be pretty exciting bringing a really diverse group of sort of global players to the community. And then we're also really focused on making sure that our community is represented on the field as well. So we want to bring the best of the Northwest, the best of Oregon, players with Oregon, hopefully Springfield, Eugene ties. But it's going to be, it's a global makeup of the team. They're going to live here year-round. So we're working on, providing housing options for them at this point. Like I said, our season runs March through October, hopefully November. And then at our level, hopefully we move up as a team into the USL Championship. But we also want to be a springboard for these players to go play MLS or Europe or other, bigger, better things.
So when you sign a contract with a player, is there a minimum that they're saying they will stay for a minimum, or is it pretty open-ended for them to seize opportunities as they progress?
Unlike the MLS, the USL clubs own the player contracts outright. So we can move players on by selling their contracts to other clubs around the world, and we don't have to share any of those revenues with the league like the MLS has to. So it's a lot easier for players to move. It's up to us to say how long we want to write these contracts for. And there is a collective bargaining agreement with the players' union, and so there are league minimums and all those other minimum standards.
It's exciting. So when are you constituting the team, and when will the first game be?
We
If
are
you know that.
we're working on the team now. So we've been given the list of players whose contracts will be expiring, who are currently in the league. We're scouting players all over the world, and our first game will be in March of 27.
Great, thank you. I just want to say I played soccer for 30 years, grew up as started as a young adult in Eugene. Was not easy. And we played on dirt, and we played pickup games because there weren't many facilities. And so it's just wonderful to have this inspiration for young people to get into soccer. So thank you so much.
If you need a rousing pep talk, the team does. Sandra is available on speed dial.
Hi.
Mary.
Mary Layton, member of City Club for a long time. And I'm just hoping all those incoming players have their passports in order, won't be chased out by ICE. But I have a different question. I'm generally involved in career and technical education, or career advising kind of, in a couple of high schools nearby. And I'm always telling kids, figure out what you really, really, really want to do, and then figure out how you're going to pay the rent and do it. So my friend who really, really wants to play the French horn has 5 individual French horn gigs that he does in town, plus he has a day job. So what I want you to talk about respectively is if a kid really, really, really wanted to play baseball or soccer, what is a likely career path? How do you make that happen in a sustainable way?
I'm going to start by saying it's unlikely, unfortunately. It's really hard to get paid to play sports. That being said, if you have the dedication, excuse me, and the love of the game, it's not that hard to be involved with sports. And so one of the things that I think players have to deal with in their careers is when they start to realize that maybe they're not going to get paid to play. They need to start thinking about other things. Do they enjoy coaching? Do they enjoy, the business aspect? There are ways to stay involved. That being said, it's soccer in particular is a global game, and so if you're willing to travel and play for peanuts in other countries, those opportunities are there more and more, with the ability to reach other clubs and the technology that makes those things easier.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It is tough to make it and play professionally. I was one of those kids, I wasn't good enough to play college baseball. But I realized that I could kind of go into broadcasting and be around the sport a little bit more. And so that was the opportunity that kind of opened up for me, knowing that, my future probably wasn't going to be a professional baseball player. Maybe it could be a professional broadcaster, some way to stay in the sport. But it takes a lot of hard work. And it takes a lot of coaches, connections, and I feel like even more now, the way that college recruiting is in terms of baseball, it's a lot of just how many showcases are you going to, how many camps are you going to, which is unfortunate, right? It shouldn't be necessarily about the money that you invest into your own kid to eventually see that kid eventually go on and play professional sports. But there is other options. But I think if you really, really want to do it, you should put your heart to it and put it all out there. And for us, the Drifters, we're a summer collegiate baseball team. So it's a little bit different. We're not, paying our players, but we're giving them the experience of what it's like to be a minor league baseball player outside of them getting paid. For example, our league is kind of like a college all-star league. We get college kids from around the country that come in and play for our team. Right now we have kids from the University of Michigan, Tulane University, Rice University, local kids from the University of Oregon, Lane Community College. We even have local kids graduates from Marist High School, Sheldon High School, Willamette. And, our league gives them the experience of going on the road and playing 6 out of 7 days a week. We went up and we played 3 games in Wenatchee, Washington. Then we went to Victoria, British Columbia. And so they get the experience themselves of, getting per diem on the road, which is a little bit of money that they do get paid. But they have, all of their expenses paid for, a hotel room, a nice bus, a place to stay in this community. And so it's just those little moments that maybe, you don't think that you're going to be able to play professionally, but you're kind of getting the experience. And we're able to provide that in our community, which I think is awesome. But, sometimes, like, our players do get drafted, and they do eventually make it, but it's extremely unlikely. Throughout the history of the Drifters, we've been around 5 years, and we've had 6 players sign professional contracts. So, if you think about the 100 of players that have come and played for our organization, 6 isn't a lot. So the likelihood isn't likely, but through a lot of hard work, dedication, and just commitment, you could eventually make it. And even our players, like some of them, one of my best friends is a guy named Julian Hernandez, who actually, me and him ran like the social media year one in 2022. He went to Whitman, which is D3 college. A lot of people think that, you're not going to make it going to a D3 college. But in baseball, you can find dudes at any level. And he had a successful career at Whitman, was the conference player of the year there 2 years, transferred to the University of Oregon, finished his last season as a Duck. But he didn't get drafted, and he played 2 years of independent baseball in the Pioneer League out in Idaho Falls, and then this past year in Long Beach. And he just got signed by the Arizona Diamondbacks. And so for him, like, he wasn't getting paid a ton of money playing Pioneer baseball, but he did it for the love of the game. And eventually all that hard work and that commitment, spending 4 years in Walla Walla, Washington, playing D3 baseball, and then eventually leading him to the University of Oregon, where he got a master's degree and got his education, which was really important for him, and it led to other opportunities. And so you never know. Like, for him, I had conversations with him, and he didn't know that he was going to play professionally someday. And then, he just kept at it, and eventually it happened. And so I think if you just, put your mind to it, those opportunities could eventually come about.
This is my granddaughter chose a D3 water polo college, so she could play.
Yeah.
And she's already doing internships on Wall Street. But just to follow up on this is a sort of a part-time and low-paid, best case, break-even gig. Do you help your players find things to do in the off-season, find a way to pay the rent?
Yeah, I mean, for us at Sporting Cascades in the USL League One, as I mentioned, there's a collective bargaining agreement with the players union. They have to get paid a certain amount. They have to have housing provided for them, food, etc. So we can't cross over. There are certain boundaries we can't cross over in terms of other employment. But yeah, we definitely have to meet a standard for those players. And, just like in any industry and just like any other league, the better players get paid more.
But what do they do in the off season? I mean, this is Eugene. Everybody knows everybody. Can you help them, or do you make a practice of helping them figure out?
Well, the thing is, we're almost year round, so there's a very short off season. We'll be training beginning of mid-January probably, and the championship game is mid-November. So there's really only 2 months that they have off. And it's the holiday season, so.
Invite them for Thanksgiving dinner, Mary, I guess. Next question.
Gentlemen, Jesse Maldonado, I'm on the LCC Board of Education, and that's kind of where I wanted to take this conversation. Both of you had kind of mentioned it a little bit, but curious about your partnerships with the higher ed institutions in town, but also the high schools. My parents actually own radio stations in Idaho and have teamed up with the high schools there to build a whole radio program and get students in calling high school sports, but kind of figuring out how that process might work here. But additionally, like, you've got such a great crop of students over at University of Oregon, between Bushnell, LCC, that might be interested in going into sports management, like a very unique opportunity to have professional and semi-professional college teams here and them wanting to do sports management. So just kind of curious if you wouldn't mind expanding a little bit on how that might work in your world, maybe the radio side, the management side on your side of things. Just kind of curious about that.
I can start with that one. Right now, we have several interns, and a lot of them are actually from the University of Oregon. So for me, in my broadcasting department, I have 4 writing interns and broadcasting interns as a whole, as a media team. 2 of them right now are from the University of Oregon. I have a kid from USC that has come up to intern with us this year, and then another kid from Linfield University. up in McMinnville. So we get a wide variety of interns. Several of our other game day operations interns are also from Lane Community College or University of Oregon, and so we're happy to provide those internship opportunities. I was one of those kids. Like, I got my internship from the University of Oregon, and so, without the Drifters being in town, like, I wouldn't have the opportunity to remain in this area, right? And, for me as a broadcaster, like, I'm happy to mentor other youth. I started broadcasting when I was in high school. I started a broadcasting program when I was in high school. After graduating from the University of Oregon, I moved down to Roseburg and worked in radio down in Roseburg for a year, and we were broadcasting Roseburg High School sports and UCC sports. And anytime that there was a student at Roseburg High School that was interested in broadcasting, me and my boss, we would gladly bring them aboard and give them those opportunities to gain that experience while they're in high school. And so if there is youth in this community that are interested in broadcasting, interested in getting involved in sports, we'd be happy to have them and give them those opportunities with the Drifters.
Yeah, last year was the culmination of 12 years of running Lane United, and we had a pretty extensive internship program, especially like the Drifters, with a short summer season. So among the 4 different categories of sort of jobs that we had, I had 275 applications last year for internships from the University of Oregon, Oregon State, Western, Lane Community College. So we definitely have a big pool of interested students, and we're keeping that pipeline alive. We just put one of our interns from Lane United into a ticketing training program. She was super excited. She wanted to go into sports ticketing, which is a new thing that everyone always used to want to go into media. But no, that's exciting. And then we just hired 4 master's graduates from the University of Oregon as well. 2 of them who got their MBAs, working in the front office, and 2 of them who just finished in product design, who are helping us launch our retail and merchandise program.
And one thing that I would like to add is, like, them hiring, recent grads, and like the Drifters hiring me, and our assistant general manager who's 24 and our general manager who's 29. Like, we're all kids that went to school here in the state of Oregon. And one thing that I've learned as a recent graduate at the University of Oregon is that it's tough to find a job in this area after graduating. And so having a team like Sporting Cascades, having a team like the Springfield Drifters provide full-time opportunities in this area is huge to try to retain those students, because a lot of people come to school in this area from all over the country, and then they leave right after graduating. So having sports teams like this makes a huge economic impact.
And I think a big feather in the cap to all of us, all of you who create this community. The number of sports professionals who did exactly that were here for some reason and left for other opportunities, who contacted me because the number one thing on their bucket list was to get back to Eugene full time, was pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Hi. Alyssa Gilbert, City Club of Eugene president. I have the privilege of also knowing Knight through a Young Professionals Club that we're in, the Children's Legacy Foundation, which volunteers and fundraises for children's charities in our community. So I have personally gotten to see firsthand the impact of, you guys being out in the community and the work that the Drifters does. And you also talked a lot about that philanthropic element. But I'm curious if you guys could each just kind of compare what you see as the effects of teams like yours on communities versus, like the big leagues teams. Like, what are those differing factors on the communities that those kinds of teams are in?
I mean, I can't necessarily speak for like every professional organization, but I can tell you that, the Drifters were really committed to community. Like, our owners really care about Springfield and the Eugene area a lot. I remember in November when the SNAP benefits were kind of up in the air, and a lot of people were struggling. Springfield High School contacted us, and they said that their food pantry was running low. And our owner, Ike, just gave us his card, and he was like, go to Costco, buy $2,000 worth of food, and donate that to Springfield High School's food pantry. And so we were able to make an impact for those families that were struggling then. For us, we're very community oriented. Like, we're going to be accessible. You guys can contact us, and we're happy to try to be there for an event. Even like right now, South Valley Coffee, who's one of our partners, they have some of our players actually serving coffee at the moment today. And it's, building those relationships with kids in the community. And we're starting to see it. I think the one thing is like the Drifters, more and more people are starting to learn about us. Like we kind of came about, didn't necessarily market ourselves the best, but people are learning about us and we're starting to see it. And it's like the little moments like me being at Lovely Cafe in Springfield and a little kid coming up to me, maybe 10 years old, wearing a Springfield High School baseball hat. And he was like, "Oh my God, do you play for the Drifters?" And I was like, "No, I work for the team." But he was like such a big fan and he was all bought in on the team. And it's those moments like that where you're able to connect with the community and, give a kid the idea of like being a ball player someday. And, yes, we're a summer collegiate baseball team. We're not a professional organization. But the kids don't necessarily know that. The kids just think of us as, professionals. And one thing that we do after every single game, kids are able to go onto the field, play catch, run the bases, get autographs from all of our players, and all of our players are super open to that. And so we're just happy to provide those opportunities for kids in the community. Again, like I said earlier, we partner with the Hope Project. We do a school backpack giveaway every year at the end of our season. So right before the start of the school year, we give out backpacks with school supplies for kids in need in the community. Provide opportunities for kids to go to games. That's why kids 12 and under are free for most Drifters games, because we want to make sure that kids have an accessible option to go to a baseball game and it not be like a financial restraint. Another thing that we did this year is we added a kids zone for the very first time. So we have giant inflatables now at the ballpark, and so kids are able to utilize that for free at all Drifters games. At the end of the day, like we just don't want it to be a financial restraint. We just want to have kids creating memories during the summer and having an option to do something in this community and not necessarily just sit around and be bored or wander around the streets. We want to give them something to do in this area.
Yeah, I think very similarly, we want to make our games accessible. Of course, we want fans from all walks of life in this community to be able to come to our games and to actually come to our games. So we've kept some of the seat prices really low, kept them the same as they were when we were an amateur team. One of the other initiatives we're working on at the moment is getting season tickets to the library so people can literally go check out tickets to go to a game. Just make that really accessible to everyone. We want to build fans for life selfishly, but we want to really represent this community the way the community wants to be represented. And so that's one of the other things we want to start doing is getting out into the neighborhood association meetings and saying, listen, we're going to be traveling the whole country representing you on the road. How do you want to be seen when we're out playing in Portland, Maine, or Naples, Florida? And then I think lastly, we've taken a page from Portland, Maine, who had a wildly successful season last year. We actually hired away one of their key game day guys, and Damian Foley's now our VP of marketing. But their whole strategy was really they didn't want to focus on theme nights at the stadium. They didn't want to have Pride Night or Star Wars Night or any of those kind of things. We didn't want to try to attract people to our games for one-offs. We wanted to present the soccer as the authentic event, but we were going to make sure to go visit all those people in their communities. So we went and we tabled at Pride Festival. And we're just going to keep doing that. We're trying to get out in the community as much as possible, be seen everywhere, introduce ourselves to as many people, and make sure that they feel comfortable with us representing them.
Hi, my name is Doug Threet. I'm not a member of the City Club. My name is Doug, and I'm not a member of the City Club, but I'm happy to be here. And thank you for coming to speak to us. And so I had a question for Night of the Drifters, and I wanted to know. My question was, do you guys ever have giveaways other than, I know you spoke of the backpacks for the kids, and then you have a fireworks night, But do you also have like a night where, like a free hat night or something like that?
Yeah, we don't have any hat giveaways this year, but we've done that in the past. Obviously, Kelly Richardson of Richardson Sports. Richardson's a big hat supplier, so we've done plenty of hat giveaways in the past. Actually, coming up on Saturday, we're going to have our very first ever bobblehead giveaway. So we're giving away 500 Rapid bobbleheads. Rapid is our mascot, which is a St. Bernard dog. So we're giving that away on Saturday. And then coming up on July 31st, we're going to have another bobblehead giveaway. So one of our players, it's still a surprise right now. We're not going to release it up until, but one of our players, we're giving away a bobblehead of him and making it special. And one thing that I will say is that the player that we are putting on the bobblehead, he's a local kid. So he's from this community, and he's played for us for several years. And so we're really excited to have an opportunity to honor him and his commitment to coming to the Drifters, and be able to give away a bobblehead and make it a lasting memory for him and his family. And I think that's one thing that I didn't necessarily touch on a little bit, was that we provide opportunities for kids in this community that are playing college baseball to stay in this area for their summers. Prior to the Drifters arriving in 2022, if kids are going to go play summer collegiate baseball, they're going to have to go elsewhere around the state. And now this year we have 8 kids that are from the Eugene Springfield area all the way up to Junction City, that get to come home and get to play at home in front of their home fans, their families and their friends, and it's a cool opportunity that we have. And so having a bobblehead giveaway to honor one of them is a cool opportunity. But yes, we do giveaways throughout the year as well.
Okay, I'm going to try to make it there on Saturday. And thank you for the voucher. Also, I have another question for the Cascades. So I'm a regular at the downtown library, and I'd love to get a season ticket or a free ticket to go see football or soccer. And has that not happened yet, or is that in the works?
That's in the works. Our season doesn't start until March of 2027. But yeah, we're working on getting that in place. And, as you probably know, the library has a bunch of tickets primarily for the arts. So they seem excited to be branching out into some local sports as well.
And was that the downtown Eugene library, or was that the Springfield library?
We're working with downtown Eugene Library right now, and we hope to put the plan in place and then take that same plan to Springfield.
Okay, that sounds great. One last question, and this would be for the City Club. And I was wondering, are there any last-minute plans to try to save the Emeralds, or is that going to be a done deal? Not to take anything away from the Drifters, but I love the Emeralds.
My son has a Sluggo Stuffy, so he's with you on that. We've had the Emeralds at City Club in the past. Maybe we will again in the future. I don't have any inside information on that. We're focused on these teams today, but it's a great question. And thanks for coming.
I'd also like to say I also love the Emeralds, and I'm sad to see them leave. I grew up, going to M's games like in high school and whatnot as well. And so it's sad to see the team leave. It's a different style of baseball, right? It's minor league baseball compared to us, which is summer collegiate baseball, and we're happy to provide, a source of baseball entertainment in this area for fans to go out and spend time in the summer. Because I think that's the one thing about going to a baseball game is even if you're not necessarily like a baseball fan, you enjoy going to a game and getting to spend time with friends and family. You can go to dinner and, you're eating and you're not necessarily having the opportunity to talk with each other. But going to a baseball game, that's like 2 to 3 hours of being able to bond with your fellow people in this community, and you get to share a little bit of community. And so I hope there is a solution for them to stay. I don't see the M's as a competition for us, and we'll see what happens, but I hope they find a way to stay here in the community because they've meant so much to this area.
Well, and if they do leave, I think between the Drifters carrying the baseball mantle and us bringing professional sports back to the Civic Stadium site, I think that puts a nice bow on it from a legacy standpoint.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, by the way, baseball is my favorite sport, and I grew up on baseball. So thank you so much to the Drifters, and have a great day.
Thanks so much. Some of us are rabid sports fans. It doesn't matter what sport. If you ask us to put down a deposit for season tickets, we do so in a heartbeat. Others, like my son, are more interested in where the mascot is, and we just follow the mascot around, and that's the sport for us. But there's plenty of others in the community who maybe aren't, wouldn't self-describe themselves as sports fans, but who I'm sure, you all want to reach. And so my question is, how do you reach non-sports fans? And then also, if you could give us a sense of how your ticket sales are, how they've grown over the years, or how you're building your base, Dave.
Yeah, I think, one of the things, we have some really good, we have really good support at the league office in Tampa at the USL. And they have people there who remind us all the time that 70% of the people in our stands wouldn't describe themselves as soccer fans. So we have to keep that in mind all the time. That being said, I know what it was like to go to Civic Stadium and watch Emeralds games. I don't remember the score of many of those games I went to, but I certainly remember what the experience felt like. And to Knight's point about bonding with friends and meeting new friends, feeling that community spirit. So I think that's what we really want to lean into. And like I said earlier, we're trying to get out in the community and meet as many people as possible on their turf. And I guess the ultimate goal is to make everyone here feel like this is their team. You can have multiple teams, of course, in multiple sports, but we really want to feel like this team represents how we want to be seen, how we feel, how we view ourselves. One, when we take the field at Civic Park, and when we travel around the country. So I think it's just getting out to everyone and not necessarily converting them into soccer fans, but converting them into Sporting Cascades fans.
Yeah, I'd say similarly. I think the thing is that, like, at least for us, like as a baseball team, and our season's so short, because it's summer collegiate baseball, like our players are in college, and a lot of them don't finish school until, the end of May, or like some of them are on the quarter system, and so they don't necessarily arrive until mid-June, and so our season runs until August 1st because they have to go back to school. And so our season is pretty much from June until the first week of August, and that is the prime time to be outside in the state of Oregon. And people enjoy being outside during the summer here in the state. And for us, we provide, affordable options. Like I said, our cheapest beer is $6. And if you go to the pub down the street, you're probably spending $6 on a beer. But if you go to a Drifters game, you spend $6 and you have baseball entertainment. And it's undivided attention too, right? Like if you, like I said, if you go to dinner, there's the distraction of eating, you're ordering, whereas baseball, it's a long process, like it's a long game. And so you have opportunity to really talk with, your neighbors, your friends, the community around you, and build that experience. And similarly, like we provide experiences along the concourse and then on the field. We have on-field games for people in the community to get involved. Like I was talking about with that kid that was interested in coming up to the broadcast booth and giving him that opportunity to do some PA announcing for half an inning. We have local businesses that are able to promote their business on our concourse and connect with other people in the community, and we really want to make it a community event. We had our soccer night, and Sporting Cascades was out, and they were able to talk about their team with the community and, connect with soccer fans. And I can tell you, like, soccer fans and baseball fans, different fan bases. But it was pretty fun. Like I was telling him a little bit earlier, one of the highlights of that night was we scored a run, and there was these two fans at the top of the stand screaming, "Goal!" And just like being able to connect with those soccer fans that would, probably otherwise not come to a baseball game, but that have that experience of, making it to Hamlin Sports Complex and connecting with other soccer fans in attendance. And so, we try to think outside the box, and, we get community input each year and what type of, events we can put on to try to, cover all of our bases and connect with all different areas in this community.
Last question, Eric.
Hi, Eric George, City Club member for about 2 years. This question is for both of you. And first of all, thank you for being here. Tremendously informative, so I very much appreciate that. My question is are your organizations members of the Eugene Area Chamber of Commerce? And if so, why? And if not, well, you don't have to answer that one. But.
Yes, absolutely. At the beginning, I think I mentioned, how important it was, and the directive that our owner gave us that everyone has to buy into this project. And so we absolutely could not do this without the support of other businesses, but we don't see that as a one-way street. We want to support businesses that support us as much as we can, and the best way to do that is through the chambers.
We currently are not a member of the Eugene Chamber of Commerce. We are heavily involved in the Springfield Chamber of Commerce, which is to be expected. We are a Springfield baseball team. That's not to say that we won't be. We've actually been to a few Eugene Chamber of Commerce meetings. We've been in talks with them, but it was just kind of like at the start of our season when they asked us if we'd join as a full member, and we kind of were like, okay, let's just get through this season. We had a lot of growth this year. In terms of just like our front office, we went from a staff of just one person last year to now a front office of 3 people to being able to kind of run and lead this organization. So our future goal is to eventually become a Eugene Chamber of Commerce member, but we are not there right now. But we are heavily involved in the Springfield business community, and the businesses in Springfield have really supported us this year, and it's fun. For me, like I was a student at University of Oregon, wasn't really a member of the community, right? Like you're a student, you're kind of just like in your own little bubble around campus. But now for me, working with the Drifters, I'm able to connect with business owners in this community and see how we can help support them and how they can help support us. And it's been awesome seeing so many familiar faces at the ballpark throughout this year.
Thank you both so much. Alyssa's going to close us out.
This has been our July 10th, 2026 conversation at the City Club of Eugene. Thank you so much to the Sporting Cascades and the Drifters. We will be back next week here at Wow Hall in downtown Eugene on Friday, July 17th at noon. That program is titled Effective Nonprofit Board Governance. We are also partnering with Food for Lee County to provide a tour of their dining room facility right across 8th Avenue from Wow Hall prior to that program next week. City Club members can join us at 11:15 a.m. at the Food for Lee County Dining Room next Friday for the tour, which will end at 11:45 a.m. just in time for our forum. Have a great week or weekend, and we will see you next time at City Club.